What's up, gamers? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. So, not too long ago, the PS5 Pro was officially announced, and my god, that reveal was terrible. First of all, the upgrades that they showed off were incredibly minor, often requiring them to stop the gameplay, zoom in, and then do a side-by-side comparison for the improvements to be noticeable. Which, if you have to do that, then that's not a significant upgrade. However, the real kicker was the price.
The 60GB PlayStation 5 for $699 US.
The PS5 Pro is going to be $699 US, which for a console is absurdly high. At that price point, you're getting into the territory where you could build a pretty decent PC. But hey, I guess it's worth it for being able to upgrade all of your PS5 games, right? Well, not exactly, seeing as the game needs to be patched to actually take advantage of the upgraded hardware. But hey, if the game is patched, you can grab it off your shelf, put the disc into the console, and wait a minute, where's the disk drive? Yeah, to add insult to injury, the thing doesn't even come with a disk drive, so if you want the grand privilege of being able to play all those physical games on that thing, that's gonna run you another $80.
But I'm not done yet!
If you want to be able to stand the damn thing up like they show in their adverts so it doesn't fall over or fuck with the cooling, then you're gonna have to spend another $30 on top of that, because I guess including a stand would have cut too much into Sony's profit margins. As bad as that is, it's even worse if you live outside the US. If you live in Europe, the damn thing costs 800 euros, which is equivalent to 878 US dollars. If you live in Britain, it's 700 British pounds, which is equal to 918 fucking US dollars. Add the stand and the disk drive, and you're gonna be spending well over $1,000 on this damn thing. At this point, you might as well just get a PC instead. Sure, you're not gonna get a top-of-the-line rig with that money, but you can still get a really good experience and benefit from all the additional perks that comes with PC gaming. Or instead, you could be like Griffin Gaming, who, for some reason, is ready and willing to defend Sony for their retarded-ass pricing model.
Yes, let me build an absolute piece of garbage computer to compare to a console.
Remember last year when I made an April Fool's video where I said that Big Man Gamers kidnapped Griffin and turned him into a PlayStation fanboy? Yeah, that was supposed to be a joke, but looking at Griffin's recent behavior on YouTube, I'm starting to wonder if I was actually correct, because recently he felt the need to go after another YouTuber by the name of SomeOrdinaryGamers, aka Mutahar, who was criticizing the PS5 Pro, and my god, this response was abysmal. Now, seeing as this comes from one of Griffin's live streams, I am going to be skipping around a bit to remove the dead air and the unrelated donation reading, so if you want the full context, I'll have a link to Griffin Gaming clips in the description. I only ask that you do not harass anyone that I talk about in this video. Anyway, sit back, relax, and let's see what our Lord and Savior Grifter Gaming has to say about the PS5 Pro.
Apparently the PS5 is a scam, guys. It's an absolute scam. If you buy it, you're gonna get a box of bricks. You heard it here first, apparently.
I love how we haven't even started Mutahar's video yet, and Griffin is already jumping to conclusions and making strawman arguments. You'll love to fucking see it.
If you're in Canada, like me, for instance, in my land, before taxes, okay, this is $960. After taxes, just the console alone is costing you $1,000. Now, to give one quick idea over here, this is getting to a point where it's so expensive that you might as well consider joining the world of PC gaming, okay? When I was younger, okay, I used to justify consoles because overall, it really was a cheaper barrier of entry to just playing the video games you wanted to play.
God, what the fuck is he talking about? I used to justify consoles. Doesn't this motherfucker have like a massive physical game boner? And literally constantly talks about how he plays on console because he cares about physical media and shit like that.
Yeah, for those wondering, I am not the one that sped up Mutahar's video. That is Griffin watching at 2x speed. But to address what Griffin's saying here, I don't really watch Mutahar, so I can't really say for sure what his entire stance is on physical games, but I did go back and watch Mutahar's original video, and his whole stance on supporting physical games is because he's coming at this from the perspective of game preservation, which, on console, physical games is probably the best way to go about game preservation. The PC, however, while it doesn't have physical media, doesn't really need it for game preservation because it's an open platform. First of all, we have plenty of different storefronts. We don't just have Steam, but we also have shit like GOG, Epic, and other shit like that. It makes it much easier to preserve games by dumping and cracking them. Even if it means you have to download a torrent somewhere, PC gaming has done a really good job at preservation, even in an all-digital future, which console gaming has yet to match, because of the closed nature of those platforms. For example, if you want to play Forza Horizon 2, well, your only option for getting it now, if you don't already own the game, is to track down a physical copy, because it's been delisted for many years at this point. PC, however, has these alternative options.
With your friends. Like, for instance, back in the day, if I wanted to play Oblivion, instead of dealing with building a computer, especially during a time when PC gaming wasn't even as popular as it was nowadays, it was easier to just buy an Xbox 360, stick a copy of Oblivion in, and play the game. Even if it was at 30 frames per second, the game ran fine enough, and you could play through all of Oblivion, right? And that's pretty much how most of my gaming was done for a period of my life. Now, honestly, when it was a PlayStation 4 generation, I was playing most of my video games on consoles. Heck, the entire reason the Shenmue video got made was because I was literally just playing that video game on my PlayStation 2 to begin with. Even though I had these games on my PC, it was just more convenient for me to load them up on a PlayStation 4 and just record my footage off of them without having to deal with going onto my PC, setting up OBS settings for it, and dealing with all of that nonsense. Hitting one button and letting my system record for hours at a time was pretty awesome. Now, PlayStation 5 is one of those systems where it's pretty much one of the most boring upgrades, literally almost like an iterative upgrade over the PlayStation 4. So, like I said last...
Yeah, what did you expect? Like, them to fucking literally create a brand new way to play video games? Like... this is like a supposed tech guy. Are you, like, genuinely surprised that this generation of consoles isn't a huge upgrade? Like, anyone with a basic understanding of fucking technology could have told you that. I don't know.
In yesterday's video.
What did you buy the PS5 thinking it was? It sure as shit wasn't going to reinvent the entire industry.
The point is that when he buys a next-gen console, he wants a substantial upgrade. In previous generations, it was pretty fucking obvious what console generation a game belonged to. Take a random game from the PS1 and the PS2, and it's obvious which is which. Take a random game from the PS2 and the PS3, and it's pretty obvious which is which. Take a random game from the PS3 and the PS4, and it's pretty obvious which is which. But take a random PS4 game and a random PS5 game, and the difference isn't always immediately obvious. Like, I'm gonna be honest, the amount of games that we've seen this generation that look like they couldn't have run on the PS4 or Xbox One can probably be counted on one hand.
The PlayStation 5 generation is not that impressive from a gaming perspective, okay? Not a lot of these games, at least exclusive ones, they're not really at a quantity or really anything that's blowing me away. You know, when we started with the PlayStation 4 generation, there were games like Killzone Shadowfall that absolutely pushed the system to its limit right before it even...
Yeah, and it sucked! Who fucking cares? The game was trash, bro. Killzone Shadowfall looked great, but it's fucking garbage.
Alright, I'll give you a few more examples. How about Infamous Second Son? How about Rise Son of Rome? How about Just Cause 3? How about Battlefield 4? How about Bloodborne? Last I checked, those games were all pretty fucking good and showcased a massive leap forward over the previous generation, so there you fucking go.
Released. And that's impressive to see. Nowadays with PlayStation 5, it really felt like Demon's Souls, which was a remake of a PlayStation 3 game, pretty much shot for shot. While yes, it looked pretty, didn't really blow me away from a gameplay perspective. I'm somebody that cares more about the gameplay now than I ever really cared about just the visual aspect.
Wait, Demon's Souls remake didn't blow you away from a gameplay perspective? But you're talking about Killzone Shadowfall?
Bruh.
Yeah, that is not a good comparison.
I have a PC for visual games, but generally if the gameplay for something isn't really grabbing me, it doesn't matter how pretty it looks. So looking at the price again, and the PlayStation 5, which quite literally is ripped
Dude, Demon's Souls is literally just Dark Souls. If you don't like Dark Souls, then just say that. There's nothing wrong with the gameplay in Demon's Souls.
Okay, while Demon's Souls is a good game, it's also a remaster of a game that released on the PS3 back in 2009, and as such, it lacks some of the polish and the mechanics that came with the Souls games that came after it, especially that god-awful fucking grass system. The point is, Mutahar wanted the next generation of consoles to evolve the gaming experience, but the PS5 and this generation as a whole isn't really doing that. That's why he doesn't find it exciting.
Whatever. I'm just curious what he put in there. 2 terabyte. Well, that's a lot slower, but whatever. We won't get fucking caught up in the details.
Alright, yeah, I skipped ahead a bit, but for context, Mutahar put a PC build that he thinks is equivalent to the PS5 Pro, and Griffin's just looking over that. There really wasn't much there, but keep that clip in mind where he said he wasn't going to get caught up in the details, because it's going to come up again later.
Yeah, whatever. And yeah, that's fine.
expected out of the PlayStation system. Now, one thing that was interesting, and the reason why I wanted to revisit this video this quickly, is because according to Sony's release, nothing in this upgrade list talks about a CPU. So one of the things that I mentioned last time was, a game like Grand Theft Auto 6, which is most likely dropping next year, hopefully, maybe there's a 60 FPS version on the PS5 Pro. There's probably not going to be a 60 FPS version. With open world games, the most important aspect of them is the constant, the real-time tick that happens with the CPU. To render thousands of NPCs, or at least the amount of NPCs that were in the GTA 5 trailer, to render those things and the logic in the world and the vehicles and just the logic of Vice City running per second on your device requires a lot of CPU power, right?
Yeah, now, that's the thing, dude. He's complaining about the fucking PS4 and PS5 just being a spec bump, but then says, oh, I don't care about graphics, I care about gameplay. Like,
nigga, you ain't funny. That's not true.
He does care about the gameplay. That's why he's pointing out the fact that GTA 6 is probably not going to be running at 60 FPS on the PS5 Pro, and is explaining his reasoning as to why he thinks that. I'm genuinely surprised that you, of all people, don't seem to understand that the frame rate affects the feel of how the game plays, especially considering you dropped $1,500 on the 3090 when it first released, and yet you're going to try and spin this as if Mutahar's the stupid one, and not you for defending the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, the consistency's not really on point here. I don't know, bro. I feel like most people complaining about this shit just are forcing themselves to complain about it. Like, you quite literally just don't have to buy this thing.
Yeah, and I feel like you are forcing yourself to hate on Mutahar's video. But yeah, obviously you don't have to buy this thing. Nobody was claiming otherwise. But at the same time, what's wrong with voicing criticisms of a product that Sony expects you to pay $700 for? What's wrong in calling out the non-existent value proposition? Like, Griffin, I know you spent the last couple years cooped up in Big Man Gamer's basement, but for fuck's sake, please put aside your petty console fanboyism for just a moment.
I don't get the rage, personally. Like, this is like getting mad at Apple for releasing a new phone.
Well, Griffin, evidently you haven't checked the internet in a long-ass time, because all the fucking time I see people complain about how overpriced iPhones are. Even then, it's a bit of a shit comparison anyway, because number one, you're going to be using your phone for a lot of everyday things, whereas a console is specifically done for gaming, and second of all, phones release all the fucking time, whereas consoles, not so much. And a lot of times when you get a new phone, a lot of people won't pay for it up front, instead they'll just add the cost of it to their existing phone plan.
Or fucking Nvidia for releasing a new GPU. Or Toyota releasing a new car.
Are we really comparing game consoles to fucking cars now? Yeah, I am not gonna patronize y'all by explaining why that's a stupid fucking comparison.
Like, yeah, it's not gonna fucking reinvent the entire industry. It's a fucking iterative upgrade. If you want to buy it, you can, but nothing's forcing you to go out and buy a brand new car every single year. Nobody's forcing you to go buy a new phone every single year. It's there for people who want it, and it's not there for people who don't. Like, I don't know, man. It's just really stupid.
That's the thing, though. There needs to be some sort of value proposition there in order to get people to want to buy it, and the PS5 Pro just doesn't have it at that price point. Because for that price, you can get a gaming PC which can do way more than the PS5 Pro could ever dream of doing. In other words, Sony is giving you a console experience while charging PC prices. If you're gonna be paying PC prices, you might as well just get a PC.
PlayStation 5 was already something that, well, yes, it was a big upgrade over the PlayStation 4 generation. I don't think it's going to run GTA 6 at 60 frames per second. I just don't really think it's that possible. Now, of course, if you're not upgrading the CPU, there's a pretty good chance that the game is just going to be running at 30 frames, even on the PS5 Pro, except the only difference is the ray tracing might be better, and the game will run at a higher resolution, okay? How much will you notice that as you play the game, with the cops chasing you as you're doing story missions, playing online? I think that
well, if you don't notice it, then don't buy the Pro. Like, it's that simple, dog. If you don't think it's a big enough upgrade, you don't have to buy it. It doesn't make it a scam. It is what it is. It's more powerful hardware. That's it. What you're buying is what you get. It is up to game developers how they utilize it. But Sony is delivering the hardware as it's advertised. There is no scam in giving people exactly what they pay for. Like, I just don't get this shit. Like, we're using a hypothetical game that hasn't even come out yet as justification for how this is grounds for a scam, bro. It's like retarded.
because I guess the concept of hyperbole completely eludes Griffin. But you know what? Fuck it, I'll entertain ya. The PS5 Pro is a ripoff. There, is that better for you? Like, given the context of what Mutahar's talking about, it's pretty fucking obvious what he meant.
Go back to PC Part Picker. Because they never upgraded the CPU, I decided to throw in a Ryzen 7 3700X, which I believe is pretty much the equivalent of what you expect with a base PlayStation 5 anyways, and what you'd expect with a PlayStation 5 Professional. I decided to put in the CPU cooler, which again, it wasn't really that crazy extravagant expensive. The motherboard, I gave it 32 gigabytes of memory versus 16 gigabytes because I figured with PC gaming, with PC stuff, you probably want to be at least a bit higher than consoles, okay? Just in terms of memory. I decided for storage, I wanted to match what the PlayStation 5 was bringing, and I gave it 2 terabytes for $117. When it came to the video card, I decided the best approximation was...
but that's not the same quality of SSD, but whatever. I mean, you know, if you want an actual PS5 compatible, like, 2 terabyte SSD to the same spec, it's closer to like $160-ish normally.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
Oh my god, Griffin, you do realize that the SSD on screen is literally compatible with the PS5. What the fuck do you mean it's not up to spec? Like, for fuck's sake, I didn't realize there were still people unironically going off about the PS5's ultra-fast SSD, as if that entire narrative didn't get completely debunked last year when Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart launched on PC, and people were running the game off a hard disk drive. Oh, and remember that statement he made earlier?
Well, that's a lot slower, but whatever. We won't get fucking caught up in the details.
Well, looks like that was a complete fucking lie, Griffin. You know, you might want to learn too.
Keep that same energy.
It was a RTX 3070.
Whatever.
Give it back to PlayStation
It's not that big a deal, but...
5 Pro is supposed to be
if
better.
you want to pick hairs over this type of stupid shit, and the whole point of a price comparison is to fucking pick hairs over the price comparison of two things, so I don't know, man. Personally, I hate the price comparison thing. If you want a PC, you're a fucking idiot if you only spend $700 on it. And if you want a console, you don't want a PC. Like, it's that simple.
Now tell me, Griffin, why is it that the console players don't want to get a PC? I'll give you a hint. It's the one thing that console gaming has over PC gaming, and that is the fact that it has a lower barrier to entry. But that doesn't really apply in the case of the PS5 Pro because it's $700, $810 if you get the disc drive and the stand. And at that price point, you could build a pretty decent PC and get all the benefits of PC gaming. Like, if the PS5 Pro was only like $600 and it had the disc drive and the stand, then I'd probably be singing a different tune, but that's not the case at all. As for his jab at PC gamers who get budget rigs, that is really elitist of you, Griffin. But don't you guys worry, we're gonna be delving into that later because, believe it or not, it gets worse.
People who are buying a console don't want a PC. And people who are buying a PC, why the fuck are you trying to match console performance? It literally makes no sense. The price comparison argument has been the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard since I've been on fucking YouTube, personally.
Griffin, aren't you supposed to have a degree in finance? I mean, it should be pretty fucking obvious what Mutahar is doing. He's doing cost analysis. He's taking a look at what the PS5 Pro offers and weighing it against what it costs, and then he's comparing it to what he can instead get in the PC side of things in order to determine how good of a value proposition it is. And based on what he's finding, a PC is the superior option here. I mean, hell, when the PS5 Pro got revealed, I went on the PC parts picker and see what was possible for me to do there at a similar price point. And I came up with a couple builds. I have a pure AMD build, I have an AMD Nvidia build, and just for shits and giggles, I also did a third build that's a bit of a step up in price, but also a noticeable step up in performance. And guess what? All these builds are under $1,000 and is a good entry into PC gaming.
Now, yes, this is a more performant system, and obviously it costs a bit more. But remember, I could save around $200 off of this if I chose to go back down to 16 gigs of RAM. Maybe I got a weaker graphic card. Maybe I went down to like Ryzen 5 or something, right, instead of 7. But remember, this is a bit more performant. I would say a fair amount more performant than what the PS5 Pro is offering. And with all of this, you do have the
Yeah, and then you don't have your fucking controller, you don't have your keyboard and mouse, you gotta buy all that shit, so... I don't know, dude. People, like, really... Because, like, they're like, oh, but I can buy a keyboard and mouse for $10, dude! It's like, yeah, and you'll get a piece of shit.
Alright, Griffin, you want to play this game? We'll play it. You want to bring up the cost of a controller or a keyboard and mouse when it comes to a PC? Fine, but in that case, it's only fair that we bring up shit like the cost for online or the higher price of games on the PS5. Like, let's analyze the cost for online, shall we? The essential tier for PlayStation Plus, which gives you access to online multiplayer on the PS5, is $80 a year. So let's see what we can do for $80. Well, this wired Xbox One controller that I have was only $25 when I bought it back in 2019. It might not look like much, but this fucker's reliable and pretty comfortable. So that leaves you about $55 to get a keyboard and mouse. You can very easily find a reliable keyboard and mouse combo for 55 bucks. And keep in mind, that's just with 1 year of PlayStation Plus. We're 4 years into the generation, so if we assume that the generation's gonna last 7 years like the past 2 generations have, that's 3 years of PlayStation Plus that you don't have to pay for playing online if you get a PC instead. So that's $240 that you're saving compared to if you get a PS5 Pro. I could also bring up the fact that games on PS5 are more expensive since you get much better sales on Steam, plus you have access to more storefronts like Humble Bundle or G2A. But, you know, I'm not even gonna try to quantify that.
You'll get like, that's the thing. I just don't understand the point of this. Yes, let me build an absolute piece of garbage computer to compare to a console. What is the fucking point? Piece of garbage.
Piece of garbage. He calls Mutahar's build a piece of garbage. Let me just remind everybody what this build consists of, okay? We are talking a build with a Ryzen 7 3700X, an RTX 3070, 32 gigs of RAM, and a Gen 4 NVMe drive. On what fucking planet is that a garbage build? That is a perfectly good build for anyone that's looking to get into PC gaming and get a better experience than what is offered on console. I mean, sure, maybe you can say that you're not going to be maxing out your graphical settings in every new release on that build, but you know what else isn't going to be doing that? That's right, the PS5 Pro. And hell, I'd also agree with Mutahar that there are plenty of areas that you could slim down on if you want to rein in the price a bit. He mentioned lowering the RAM and getting a weaker GPU, which are both valid options. I think you can also go from a Gen 4 NVMe to a Gen 3, and you will still get a really good experience. Hell, I have a Gen 3 in my PC, and I haven't had any issues with it. In fact, back when the 4090 shit happened 2 years ago, I distinctly remember him saying on Fratanga's stream that he doesn't know shit about these GPUs or about PC components in general, and that he just picked the most expensive options in NZXT and got that. Given your self-admitted lack of knowledge on this subject, I do not think you are any sort of authority on this subject, Griffin. I swear, listening to Griffin try to explain technology is like listening to a third grader try to explain differential calculus.
Bro, why would you want a piece of garbage? Like, I don't get it. It's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, I thought PC was the premier gaming platform, and now we're fucking, you know, scavenging through the fucking trash to save as many pennies as possible. Like, it's just pitiful, dude. Why the fuck are you even building a PC if you're, like, that desperate to save, like, $10 here, 10 cents here? Like, it's just sad.
Because a gaming PC can do a hell of a lot more than a console can. For example, the ability to play at whatever resolution you want, the ability to play at whatever graphics settings you want, the ability to play at whatever aspect ratio you want, the ability to run the frame rate as high as your rig can handle and not have to deal with forced frame rate caps, the ability to install and play mods, the ability to play online for free without having to pay a subscription fee to the console manufacturer, the ability to use whatever controller you want, the ability to play on keyboard and mouse, having access to multiple digital storefronts instead of being locked to the one that the console manufacturer runs, the ability to install and play emulators, and having access to the largest video game library in the world because all the third-party publishers put their shit on PC. Xbox has been putting their games on PC for about a decade at this point. PlayStation, for the past couple of years, has been putting their games on PC. And while Nintendo hasn't been putting their games on PC officially, well, there's always emulators for that. And that's just the shit that directly pertains to gaming. If I wanted to, I could also bring up the fact that you can use your PC for work, school, taxes, investments, video editing, programming, content creation, music, and all the other billion things that you can use a PC for. But even if you don't care about all that and are purely getting a PC just for gaming, there are plenty of benefits to getting it over a console. So why shouldn't we compare the prices? Because a lot of people are looking at the price of the PS5 Pro, and then they're looking at the price of an entry-level gaming PC and they're realizing, wait a minute, this shit ain't adding up. The PC can do so much more than the console, but for some reason the console is at a very similar price point. I mean, after all, Griffin, you did say that PC gaming was the premium experience, so if the premium experience is available for the same price as the console experience, then why the fuck would people buy the console? The whole point of getting a console over a PC is the reduced barrier to entry, but with the price point of the PS5 Pro, that doesn't really apply.
Option of, again,
It's
cutting down
really
this into a more
sad.
reasonable budget close to the PlayStation 5 if you chose to downgrade certain parts, but I chose to keep it a bit future-proof because I feel like, you're in this market, you probably want to spend a little bit more, get a more performance system, because it isn't just about playing video games with PC gaming. So if you're somebody that wants to, be a content creator in the video game space, it might be better for you to buy this system setup versus just going out of your way to buy a singular gaming console that you can just play video games on, but maybe not be able to produce content with the same level of quality that you would expect with a PC. Now, I didn't factor in an operating system.
Yes, because everyone who plays video games is a content creator. Like, yeah. See, this is what I mean. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can do all this other shit on a computer, but if you're just buying a gaming machine, you obviously don't need to do that other shit. So, again, kind of irrelevant, but yeah.
Like I just explained, even if you don't care about all that other shit and you're just getting a PC for gaming, you're still gonna get a better experience than you are on a console because of all the benefits of PC gaming.
System or a monitor, because ultimately,
See, the only time I think you should throw out the thing of like, oh, well, you can do all this extra stuff on it, is if you're like justifying a massive price differential. Like if you tell somebody, yeah, you'd be better off spending $1,500 on a PC than $700 on a console because at least the PC's upgradable, you can do all this extra shit, you can play your games in a better fidelity than the console. But no, we're literally arguing like, hey, spend $700 that you would have spent on a gaming system exclusively and buy a fucking $700 computer instead. It's like, okay, well, obviously the person's even considering buying the console, they don't have a need for the functionality of a computer already. So it's just kind of a stupid self-defeating argument. It's kind of idiotic, bro. The only time you should be throwing out like, oh, you can do all this extra shit, it's like, yeah, well, that's if somebody's spending more on a console. So I don't know, bro. It's just kind of dumb if you ask me.
That has got to be one of the most retarded arguments I have ever heard during my time on YouTube. Like, the logic of a massive price differential when comparing this shit is so ass backwards. If anything, the fact that you can get a good experience on PC for the same price as what this console is going for is all the more reason to get the PC. Because for the same price as that PS5 Pro, you can get everything that it is capable of doing and a lot more. So why not just buy the PC? Like, holy shit, livestream Griffin makes fucking Tarragon seem like a goddamn scholar.
This whole argument's stupid. Griffin has lost his mind? How have I lost my mind? This is the same shit I've been saying since I got my fucking computer. This is the exact same script that I've been reading from the very first day I got my computer. There is no point in trying to build a computer for the same price as a console. Go watch my first fucking video about switching from console to PC gaming, and I guarantee you'll hear me say, I'd recommend spending about $1,200 on a PC. And that was back in 2019, when this shit was cheaper. Nowadays, it's probably like fucking $1,800 by fucking inflation standards. So yeah, no, this is the consistently same shit that I've been saying since the very beginning. Y'all motherfuckers have changed.
There is so much to unpack with this statement. First of all, I know exactly which fucking video Griffin is talking about. And there's a couple of things. First of all, you said that you recommend spending at least $1,200, but in reality, in that video you said $800 to $1,000, which guess how much the PS5 Pro is if you get the disc drive and the vertical stand? $800. But let's hear from the mouth of the grift horse himself.
Now, you may be wondering, what would be the price that you recommend spending on a PC? Now, this is a very controversial answer, and PC dudes get mad at me every single time I say it, but, you know, fuck it, man. I really don't care. But I would recommend spending about $800 to $1,000 on a PC. If you can bump it up to $1,200, you are going to get a very solid machine that is going to last you for years to come, that you are not going to have to upgrade, but you can 100% upgrade if you want to moving forward.
Second of all, the context now is completely different from the context from when you first made that statement. When you first made that statement, the console generation had just launched, and the most expensive consoles were the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, which would run you $500 unless you bought it from a scalper on eBay. And yeah, for $500, you were not going to get a gaming PC that came anywhere close to those consoles. On top of that, you also initially said that when the console generation was brand new and not a couple years old. And higher performant PC parts were comparatively more expensive. Partially because newer generations of GPUs didn't exist at the time, and also because GPUs were being bought up in bulk because of the crypto mining boom, which has since come down. Nowadays, though, we're about midway through the generation, and now a console is costing $700, which is way more than they were at the start of the generation. Combine that with the fact that the PS5 Pro is missing improvements like an upgrade to the CPU, all of a sudden, that statement doesn't really apply to the PS5 Pro in the same way it does to the base consoles. Now, had the PS5 Pro been priced more reasonably, say maybe it was like $600 and it actually came with the disc drive and the stand, I'd probably 100% agree with you. But given that you're spending $800 if you want all that shit, and the fact that PC gaming is more accessible now than it was 4 years ago due to the crypto mining boom ending and GPU prices coming down a little bit, choosing to go with a PC at a similar price point is a very good option. And for fuck's sake, Griffin, you really think that nowadays you need $1,800 to get a good PC rig? Once again, Griffin is demonstrating his complete lack of knowledge on PC gaming, because you do not need anywhere close to that amount to get a good experience with PC gaming. I mean, hell, I built my PC a few months ago for only $1,400, built around an i7-12700K, an RTX 4070 Super, and 32 gigabytes of RAM. And I can play pretty much any game at 1440p max settings at a really high frame rate. And keep in mind, I was intentionally building a powerhouse of a PC and was spending more than a lot of people do. The average PC gamer, however, is probably going to have a less expensive and less powerful rig. In fact, we could literally look at the Steam hardware surveys and take a look at what most people are going to have in terms of power on PC. Well, let's see. By far the most popular card on Steam is the RTX 3060, which has 5.71% of the market share, which might not sound like a lot until you consider just how many GPUs there are to choose from. Then we have the 4060, as well as its laptop variant, the 4060 Ti, the GTX 1650, the 3060 Ti, the 2060, and then the 3070. We had to go down to 8th place in the Steam hardware surveys to get anything above a 60 class GPU. And I can tell you right now, you do not need to spend anywhere close to $1,800 to get a good rig with any of these cards. And if you could not get a good experience on PC with these cheaper rigs, then these cards would not be anywhere near as popular as they are. If you're a PC gamer, or somebody that's looking to get into PC gaming, please, for the love of God, do not listen to Griffin when it comes to building and buying a PC. Even with a cheaper, less powerful rig, you will still be able to get a really good experience on PC with tons of benefits over console gaming.
Ultimately, when you're buying a console, you know, you're factoring in the TV and the monitor separately.
Dude, that's the thing. It's like, I don't know, bro. This is just funny to me. Yeah, I lost my mind, dude. Oh my god.
Nobody buys Windows, okay? No psychopath that I know of purchases a Windows license, okay? Usually people just go to Microsoft Windows, download the ISO file, and install it onto their system. That's why nearly in every gameplay recording video you see from any of your favorite fucking YouTubers, you'll probably notice activate Windows at the bottom right. Or they'll
No, I'm not fucking poor, bro. Why the fuck would I leave activate Windows on the bottom of my computer? I'm not a fucking broke, disgusting, plebeian piece of shit. Holy fuck. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna leave a fucking watermark on my computer permanently because I can't pay $30 fucking for a license? Holy shit, dude. Absolutely fucking not. No, I'm not a filthy plebe.
I don't need to hear the perspective of a bunch of brokies who can't even fucking buy it anyway.
The more things change, the more they stay the same, don't they, Griffin? My guy, Mutahar is simply giving options for people that want to get into PC gaming if they're on a budget. And he's pointing out that you don't have to pay for Windows if you either don't care about the watermark or if you just want to use Linux instead, both of which are very valid options. But fuck it, if the watermark is really what's bothering you, well, I got news for you. You actually don't have to pay for Windows at all if you want to remove the watermark. You can also remove it in the registry editor or run a script to remove it, all without paying a single fucking penny. And the reason Mutahar brings it up is because we have people on Twitter that say shit like this. It's hilarious seeing all these PC part picker douchebags forgetting to include Windows. But, you know, God forbid Mutahar give accurate information to those looking to get a PC by simply pointing out that you don't have to pay for Windows if you don't want to. Like, I swear to God, Griffin just seems like the kind of dude to unnecessarily buy shit just to flex that he has money or whatever.
And it in a way where it doesn't appear. You see, I don't really believe anybody purchases Windows. If you do buy Windows, you are a very, very rare exception that I've noticed, okay? Because ain't nobody fucking buying any of those weird Windows 11 Pro licenses, okay? It's just how—
Oh my god. Yeah, dude, I refuse to be a fucking poor. Like, dude, I hate watermarks, so there's no fucking way I could, like, ever stand the possibility that I'd have a permanent fucking watermark on every single screen I look at. Absolutely not. Yeah, you can literally go buy a fucking Windows key for like 15 bucks on eBay half the time.
Once again, if the watermark is the only thing bothering you about the free version of Windows, there is a simple script that you can install and run to get rid of it. But of course, buying a license off of like CD keys or G2A is always an option. The point that Mutahar is making here is that you have options when it comes to this sort of thing, but you're throwing a fucking tantrum like a child when he brings it up. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and end it off here because the rest of Griffin's response to Mutahar is either shit I've already responded to, or just stuff that's not really relevant to the topic at hand. So I guess the key takeaway here is that you don't need to spend a fortune on a gaming PC to get a good experience and to get the benefits that it has over console gaming. And also, for the love of God, don't listen to Griffin when it comes to building a PC, because he clearly has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more, and tell me what you think about Griffin completely shilling for the PS5 and putting down PC gaming. Anyways, that's it. Peace!